Hey everybody, this is the Sliders Review, and I'm here today to talk to you about The Sex Lives of College Girls Season 1, the Rundown Review. This is probably like my second time recording the intro. I'm always constantly bringing up new stuff in my head, and it's just kind of like, I just don't get this show. Like, I really don't. I don't. This show confuses the crap out of me. It's like it took me 6 episodes to finally like this show. And the first 5 episodes I do not like. The last 5 I do, but they are not perfect. They are still flawed. But it's a whole lot better than what the original 5, well, the other 5 were. Like, I have so many conflicting issues with this show. First, in the first 5 episodes, the acting was terrible. But then, by the 6th episode and the rest, the acting got so much better. The jokes got better. Um, the writing, the dialogue got better. It was just like in those first 5 episodes, it's like, yo, what is going on? Like, okay, I get it. The acting's not that great because you got a bunch of newcomers. That's fine. And more episodes would help them build their acting skills better and stuff like that. You know what I'm saying? But the writing was just awful in those first 5 episodes. The dialogue, the jokes, nobody was hitting their cues on the jokes. Even in the other 5 episodes, the jokes got better, but every now and then they didn't let things pause before they hit people with a zinger. You know what I'm saying? And you have to pause after a dramatic moment and then hit somebody with that zinger. You gotta learn how to like hit your cues and stuff like that. And it's kind of like, okay, this show's on HBO Max, and it's only 10 episodes. The first episode is an hour, the rest are just like 20, 30 minutes. This show feels like a CW show, and it should have been on the CW. It should have had 20 episodes because they go through like an entire, actually, to tell you the truth, they don't go the entire semester. They go like midway. So it's like all these months are passing, but it's in the span of 10 episodes. So you kind of lose your way. Like within the span of probably like, 5 episodes, only a month has passed and everything. So like, yeah. Now, it just would have been so much better if they would have had like 20 because there are some really good issues they brought up, but they have to get rushed and everything. Um, this show does have a lot of moral center stuff in it, but I'm conflicted at that as well because for the moral part, they would have something very dramatic, very serious, something that's going on in today's world, and then the person gets like a victory, then it's like, oh, they hit you with like a joke, kind of like a Josh Whedon thing. Something's very dramatic, building up suspense, then they hit you with a joke, and then it loses all credibility of what just happened because that joke just kind of ruined your like vibe and everything. This show is very progressive. It is very diverse. And I like that. I love seeing shows that are like that. That's not just centered around one race or one type. This show is very, very, very LGBT. There is some good LGBT representation, and then there is some kind of bad and cringy LGBT stuff. Some of the jokes, it's just like this show feels a bit like a spoof or a parody. This show reminds me a lot of Sex Education, the original American Pie movies, and Insatiable. But then it feels like a spoof of those things. Because those were done like so much better. Well, stuff for Insatiable. Now, this show also does is the whole male versus female things. Because it is very female centric and stuff. I like to think of this as kind of like a female American Pie, which is kind of cool. But they already had a movie like that. I haven't watched that yet. And so it's kind of like, yeah, it's kind of like, it's weird. You watch the first American Pie movie, a coming of age of these like 4 guys. It's done so much better than this. It's written so much better than this. The jokes are better than this. Um, Speaking of which, I don't know why this show is called The Sex Lives of College Girls. It should have just been called like The Lives of College Girls or College Girls. Because yeah, there's some clickety clacking going on. But it's not much, and it's not really the main true focus of the show. Like it's just something that happens because you're in a relationship, something like that. Um, However, this show does do the whole women are awesome, men suck thing, which I have a problem with that. There are some things that do happen that should be addressed, but it makes the men look like monsters and the women look like heroes. And sometimes the women look like heroes when they haven't really done nothing to earn that hero status. And that bothers me. I get they trying to do that to make women stronger and stuff like that and in society, but this is just the wrong way to go about it. Um, and then there are some things where it's kind of like, okay, well, a dude, because there's something that happens in here where a guy does something to a woman he had no business doing. But then there's a female in this show who does it to another female. And then one of them supposed to be like, oh, isn't that romantic? And then the other one's supposed to be like, oh, you're an evil man. So it's kind of like, I'm conflicted by that. It's kind of like, what kind of lesson are you trying to send? You trying to say one thing without consent is okay because it's two women, but then the other thing without consent is terrible because it's a man and a woman. And it's just like, what the world kind of message are you trying to send? And so, like, and just like the CW, it has that good representation and it has that check mark representation. This show, when I looked online, I thought like because I first watched the trailer, then I watched like the first episode, then I went to Wikipedia and see who are some of these people like in this thing, because I recognize some people I don't. And I kept looking at the list and it's like, okay, main kiss, not kiss. So I'm thinking about that whole consent thing because of the two female thing. Anyway, the main cast and the recurring cast and guest cast, and I'm just like, wait, hold on, why is the main cast so large? There aren't that many main characters in this show. For the most part, it's the main four female and maybe a few others and stuff. The other ones, I'm just kind of like, y'all are recurring characters. And y'all are recurring because nothing focused on y'all. Y'all are literally just there. We know nothing about y'all. I barely remember y'all name and stuff. So I don't understand why some of these characters are recurring and stuff. And so with the fake checkmark thing, it's kind of like, okay, it's great they have representation. It's great they showing diverse people. And it's great that they're giving people opportunities that they will never have in any other type of show or movie. But if you're gonna show these people and say that they're main cast members, do something with them. At least have one episode about them, or we at least hear about like what goes on in their life, their struggles and this and that, and what's life for them. But they don't do that. Like there's a woman in a wheelchair. She's in a couple of episodes. She pops in and out. But she's a main cast member, but yet we don't know nothing about her, like whatsoever. One tiny little detail that is non-significant. And then there's a Latin woman here. She's only there to be the sassy Latin woman. That's it. Then there's like a black dude. Like he's literally the only good guy in this show. But he kind of has like there's two incidents in this where he's supposed to stand up for himself, but he doesn't. Instead, the one of the main characters do that look like the savior and everything. It's like, dude, why couldn't he stand up for himself? You know what I'm saying? So it's kind of like this show tries, but sometimes it ends up failing. And so, like, I don't know, man. It's just like, it is a good show, but it's a very, very flawed show because it's taking modern day television telling, cramming it in 10 minutes, well, not 10 minutes, 10 episodes of 20 minutes, and you're not going to be able to truly get across what you want to get across unless you tell one side of the story and you don't tell it properly. Like there was, like I said before, there was an incident where something happened without somebody's consent, and so like it went about it the wrong way of how you supposed to proceed with something like that because there was no investigation whatsoever. And it's just kind of like, how are you supposed to teach this to young kids if all you're teaching them is, hey, when somebody does something they're not supposed to do, um, they lose everything, and they're guilty without being proven innocent. Like, you don't do that. That's why we have a court system. That's why we have trials and everything. You just can't say guilty and punish. That's what they did in Salem witch trials and everything. They were like, oh, you're a witch, well, you're guilty and everything. See, that real life incident is what caused people to have court systems and take their time. But this show doesn't do it. It just say, you're a man, you're bad, boom, cancel. And it's just like, you cannot teach people that way. You need to teach people that what he did was wrong, and you're supposed to believe the victim, but after you believe that victim, you are supposed to investigate. You're supposed to see if what they're saying is true or not. Because being lied on sucks. And you know what I'm saying? Because people will lie, but you have to prove if they're telling the truth or not. That's the thing, you know? But and then one thing about this show is interesting, because like I said, it's a coming of age like story set in college, and it's kind of like, yeah, you do recognize like these type of things in college, and like these type of people and their personalities. That brought me back all kind of memories, man. Like when I saw the girl with the wheelchair, and I'm like, oh, I had a friend who was in the wheelchair in college and everything. I remember the foreign dude with the thick accent. I remember the nerdy people. I remember the frat dudes. I remember this and that, and it's just like you remember so much. But I will say this, like I said before in my other video, my favorite character is Kimberly. I love that character to death. Even though she is still flawed, but she is still the best written character with the best character development. Um, the worst character development is probably Bella. I don't understand Bella whatsoever. Bella is gonna be a very controversial topic when I get to her, because people gonna think, oh, you just objectifying women, and but it's kind of like, no, you gotta look at this through both lenses and everything, and it's kind of like she needs to learn that if she wants to be that way, fine, but she has to kind of like be smarter, and she needs to understand how her lifestyle is can come back to bite her in the butt, because people are going to use that against her, or they might get the wrong impression, or when they use it against her, then they're going to get away with whatever bad thing they did, because they're going to say, well, you know, she is this way, and blah, 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 and you know, and all this other crap. And then, so then you got to do the whole, well, who are they going to believe, him or her? You know what I'm saying? And most likely they're probably going to believe him, because they're going to think, oh, well, you know, she's this way and everything. But just because she's that way don't mean bad stuff has to happen to her, you know? And so I don't get that, because like the four main characters, they do bad stuff, and they Alrighty, well, I'll talk to y'all later. Bye.